Hey, how are you? So today I'm going to show you how to hook up your heated shield on your 2006, 2005 Polaris Fusion, whether it be a 6, a 7, or a 9, or a Dragon, or anything else. This should also apply to any IQ sled, whether it be a CFI, again, whether it be a 6 or an 800, they should be pretty much all the same. So the first thing you want to do is identify your voltage source for the heated shield. Now, you have two ways to do it. You can either hook into the AC circuit, which is typically your yellow and brown. Yellow is a controlled 12 volt alternating current, not current, but a voltage source from on the sled, or you can use the a 12 volt source, which is what I always typically use, just because it's more of a constant power. Because if you use the yellow voltage on the AC side, what will happen is, unless the sled is running, you won't get 12 volts out of it. It only kicks in after like 3,500 RPM. So if you're at a stop and the sled is idling, the shield won't be getting 12 volts. So the way I'm going to show you is the Polaris way, and if you were to buy this kit, which we're not, we're putting it together through some parts and pieces that you get through any auto parts store. But if you were to buy the kit from Polaris, this is how they would have recommended that you do it. Alright, so first thing you want to do is identify your voltage source on the sled. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk over to it, open up the hood. Okay, so over by the oil box, there is a 2-wire plug right here, which is a standard plug. So if you look at it, there's a red with a white tracer and a brown, and the brown is always ground, and the red and white is the hot, 12 volts. So if you want to check it, I already did. You can take your multimeter, set to DC voltage, and check for source voltage when the sled's running, and you should get around 12 volts. And so that is the pigtail that you want to use. So let's walk over to the bench, and I'm going to show you what you're going to need as far as parts and tools to get it done. Alright, so over at the bench, as far as parts and supplies, what you're going to need is obviously the pigtail that's going to come with your heated shield. Hopefully it's a fused link, so if you have a ground or anything like that, it will blow the fuse before it'll melt the wire. And what you want to buy is, I picked this one up at Advanced Auto Parts. It's in the trailer section. It's a standard 2-wire flat connection with just 2 ends on it. And what we're going to end up doing is cutting one side of it and splicing it in to the wiring harness. So the part number on this is 47965. This was $3, right? So you're also going to need a little short piece of flex loom to make everything nice and neat. A set of wire strippers, a soldering iron with some solder, and this is optional, but I highly recommend it if you guys are ever doing any soldering. It's called Helping Hands. Essentially, it's a little set of alligator clips with magnifying glass. It is great when you guys are doing soldering. So I picked this up at Harbor Freight for less than $5. So I would highly recommend that you guys pick one up. So it makes your life a lot easier when you're doing soldering. So let me put everything together, and I'll show you how your wiring is going to go. Okay, so now we have it ready to solder. One thing I forgot to mention is make sure you put shrink tube on your shopping list so you can make it weather tight once you make your connections. So I have it in the Helping Hands, and essentially it's all ready to solder. So again, everything lines up, red to red, white to brown on this one, and then you make your solder connections and do your shrink tube, and you're all set. So let's do that. Alright, so I just finished up the solder connections. So make sure you do a good job on them. You don't have a cold solder joint or anything like that. Take your time and just make them nice and neat. So now we're just going to put the shrink tube over the joints and apply some heat to it and shrink it down and make it weather tight. Alright, so here's a finished product. Shrink wrap is all set, nice and neat, and it's ready to go ahead and install into the sled. So let's go over there, we'll walk over, plug it in, and we'll check for voltage. Okay, so you're going to plug it in right to your standard 2-wire connector like we talked about before. And then plug in the, your RCA connector into the end of the pigtail if it has a breakaway connection or anything like that. And you're going to take your meter, set it to DC volts, and under 20 volts. Honestly, I can't show you on mine because I'm shooting this with my phone, and I don't have 5 hands to hold the phone and check it and everything else. But I just started, and I can assure you I do have 12 volts. So at this point, the only thing you have left to do is do your final routing. Decide where you want the plug to end up at. I'm probably going to route mine underneath the handlebar covers and have it come out right to the left of the handlebar control, so I can just plug in from there. So I'll show you the finished product once I'm all done. Okay, so now I went ahead and plugged it in, put in the wire loom, and did the routing. So essentially it's plugged in. It's going through the over the oil box support, supported with a wire tie, and then it's going on top of the earbox, and from there it's coming out with the rest of the wiring harness through the rider select opening. And so what it is, I have a piece of wire loom attached to it so it doesn't chafe in that pitch point with everything moving on in there. And then I have the line lightly secured to the stainless steel brake line, and from there it's hanging out underneath the handlebar controls. So let's go ahead and install the handlebar pad and show the finished product. Okay, so here we go. The handlebar pad has been installed, and there's the end of the pigtail for the electric shield coming out of the natural opening that's left in the gap from the handlebar pad. So essentially that's it. So as you can probably tell, it's pretty easy to do. It doesn't require that much tools or mechanical ability, just a soldering iron, about $2 in materials. So hope this helps everybody out, and if anybody has any questions, thoughts, or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments box, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.